Big U and 18 other Rollin 60 Crips got hit with one of the craziest Rico indictments ever. Big U allegedly shot his own artist in the face and brought his body to the desert, and that's just the beginning. This case involves everything from murder to scamming NBA legends like Shaq, and today we're breaking it all down. In March 2025, Big U and 18 other Crips were indicted on Rico charges. When the news first broke, the cops didn't have Big U in custody yet and thought he might try and do the race because he was the leader of the whole thing. Big U and a lot of dudes in the indictment are affiliated with the Rollin 60 Crips, but Big U is running his own thing called Big U Enterprise. Big U had his own charity and record label, but the cops say that Big U Enterprise was a mafia-like organization that Big U used as a front for his crew. Big U wanted everyone to think he had gone legit and was giving back to the community, but one of the prosecutors called him a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheater. One of the biggest details in the case is when Big U allegedly brutally murdered one of his own artists. Big U started his own rap label called Unique Music and was putting on artists from the West Coast. But in 2021, Big U allegedly pulled the trigger on his own rapper because of a diss track. A dude named Rayshawn Williams assigned to Big U's label, but there was some drama going on behind the scenes. It's not clear what sparked the issue, but Rayshawn Williams ended up dissing Big U in a song, and that's allegedly why he ended up getting shot in the face. And the craziest thing about the situation is that Rayshawn Williams talks about his own death on the track and described exactly how it could go down. Rayshawn Williams dissed Big U and called him a bro that makes some money. Then Rayshawn said that the song can get him killed for thinking shit funny. Rayshawn also raps about himself getting shot in the face with a .38 revolver that would leave no trace. Then 5 days after Rayshawn Williams made the track, the Las Vegas police found his dead body in a ditch. Rayshawn had been shot in the face with a revolver, and the cops think Big U was the one who pulled the trigger. And what makes the situation even crazier is that Big U had been Rayshawn Williams' football coach since he was a kid. According to court documents, Big U's label Unique Music paid to fly Rayshawn Williams from California to Las Vegas in January 2021. The label paid for Rayshawn to stay at an Airbnb, and he was supposed to go to the studio every day for a week to record new music. Rayshawn missed one of the studio sessions though, so Big U and his right-hand man Sylvester Robinson drove out to Las Vegas to press him about it. Big U and Sylvester Robinson showed up to the Airbnb and asked Rayshawn why he didn't go to the studio, and Rayshawn said he didn't have a ride. The next day, Rayshawn, Big U, and Sylvester Robinson all went to the studio. It's not clear what happened there, but Rayshawn had no idea that his old coach was allegedly gonna murder him just a few hours later. Surveillance videos from Rayshawn's Airbnb spotted him going there after the studio session at around 1 in the morning. Rayshawn was allegedly riding with Big U, and he hopped out to grab his suitcase and then got back in the car. Rayshawn was supposed to be in Las Vegas for another day, but Big U allegedly had other plans, and according to the cops, Big U drove Rayshawn out into the desert, shot him in the face, and then went back to the studio. A witness said that Big U showed back up to the studio at around 3 in the morning, and it looked like he was drenched in sweat or water. And Big U told the witness that he just got back from the gym. Then just a few hours later, the cops found Rayshawn's body in the ditch. According to the indictment, Big U took recording equipment out of the studio after he allegedly killed Rayshawn and told someone to get rid of the surveillance footage from that night. The cops think that Big U had a fight at the studio before Rayshawn got killed, and that's why Big U wanted the video to be deleted. After Rayshawn got killed, Big U knew there was going to be some heat on him, so he allegedly made one of his homies drive his whip and stay in his crib. That way, if the cops showed up to the house or pulled the car over, Big U would have time to run before the cops actually got to him. Nobody really knows why Big U allegedly killed Rayshawn, but that's the situation that got the feds looking into him. And a month after Rayshawn died, the FBI opened an investigation into Big U Enterprises. Everyone already knew that Big U was one of the top dudes in the Rollin 60's though. Big U was always talking about the gang and said he came up robbing cars. Then he earned a rep in the streets by putting hands on all of his ops. Big U was pushing drugs all through the 80s, but he claimed he stopped after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. That's when Big U got into the rap game, and he started managing a dude named Corrupt. Big U was still heavy in the streets though, and in '91, he tried to steal a bunch of cocaine from an undercover cop. Big U went down for 13 years in prison and got into all kinds of crazy situations behind bars. Big U admitted to stabbing a bunch of people in prison, and one time he hit a dude so hard that he knocked the dude's eyeball out of his socket. But then Big U came home in 2004 and started a charity called Developing Options. Developing Options was supposed to keep the kids out of the streets and help them get involved with sports, but the cops say there was way more going on behind the scenes. Big U started getting funded for Developing Options from the Gang Reduction Youth Development Program in LA. And since 2015, the city's been giving the charity over $500,000 every year. That money was supposed to be helping kids stay out of the trenches. but Big U was allegedly taking it for himself. Even NBA players got wrapped up in the situation. According to the indictment, Draymond Green and Shaquille O'Neal both gave $20K to developing options. Then Big U transferred the money right into his own accounts. Draymond and Shaq might have been scammed out of $20K, but at least they didn't get hands put on them like Adrian Broner did. According to an informant who's working with the FBI, a boxer named Adrian Broner set up a big dice game in LA back in 2019. Adrian Broner invited a bunch of NBA players to the game, but him and his crew were allegedly using trick dice though, and they stole millions from the NBA players. After the game, Big U heard about it and told his crew to rough up Adrian Broner because he didn't check in with Big U before he set up the dice game. Then Big U got the money that Adrian Broner took from the NBA players and gave it back to him. Big U didn't just hand the money back for free though, and he allegedly made the players give him $100K each. And according to one of the FBI informants, there are a lot of other NBA players and celebrities who would check in with Big U to make sure they were safe at parties, games, or advertising shoots. And anyone who didn't check in would face retaliation from the Big U enterprise. Big U even said, "If I don't pick up the phone, that could mean death for somebody." Big U was allegedly extorting weed shops too. One dude who ran a weed dispensary told the cops that Big U had been extorting him for $25K a month. At one point, the dude couldn't afford to pay the fees anymore, so Big U sent a bunch of goons to the shop. The goons ran in with guns and stole a bunch of cash and weed. Then later that same day, Big U invited the weed shop owner to his crib. Big U put everything that had been stolen from the shop on the table and told the dude, "That's how you rob yourself." Then Big U made the dude pay him another $10K so he wouldn't get robbed again. Big U wanted to hit up other weed dispensaries, and he asked the dude who just got robbed to help him set them up. Big U told the dude to get the money for the other robberies. Then Big U handed him back some of the money that had just been stolen from his shop. And what makes the situation even crazier is that Big U's homie Loose Cannon talks about the robbery on No Jumper, and the feds quoted the interview in their indictment. Loose Cannon and Brick Baby were both on No Jumper a lot, but now they're both involved in the Rico case with Big U and the other Rollin 60's. According to the indictment, Big U was pressed that Loose Cannon was airing out street business on the No Jumper podcast. So after the episode came out where Loose Cannon was talking about the weed dispensary robbery, Big U sent No Jumper a cease and desist letter, and they took the episode down. The weed shop robbery wasn't the only thing that Loose Cannon talks about on No Jumper though. And according to the indictment, Loose Cannon admitted that Big U and him extorted a celebrity rapper out of $50K. Loose Cannon was allegedly robbing people outside of the No Jumper studios too. On January 3rd, 2025, Loose Cannon allegedly pistol whipped a dude and put the gun against his head. Then two of Loose Cannon's homies snatched the dude's jewelry, cash, and phone. After Brick Baby, Big U, and Loose Cannon got locked up, a lot of people were blaming Adam 22 from No Jumper. But Adam 22 clapped back and said he was helping them make legit money and didn't have anything to do with them getting booked.
You know what I do? I put people in position, put them on the podcast, give them jobs, help them make legal money. A lot of the that people are getting caught up for, especially with Brick, it's like, I'm not seeing anything that says anything about stuff that he's done in the last 2 years since he's been with us, right? So, you know, end of the day, I do employ people from the streets. And I guess, you know, people from the streets sometimes get caught up in federal Rico indictments, whatever the this is.
According to the cops, Big U has been extorting people all over the city. Back in 2021, Big U threw a birthday party for himself at a club. Big U told the club owners that he was going to bring in a bunch of famous rappers like T.I. and Wiz Khalifa. So the owners agreed to give Big U around 30% of the money that the bar made that night. But when Big U rolled up to the club with his crew, he forced one of the owners into a back room and extorted $30K from him. The feds have been watching Big U and his crew for years, and they got a ton of evidence against them from tapping their phones. And one time, the feds recorded Big U planning a robbery. Big U heard that somebody had robbed a celebrity rapper and took their studio equipment, and Big U planned to rob the dudes who took it. Some of the studio equipment had an Apple AirTag on it, so Big U and his crews tracked the thieves down and brought their guns with them. Big U and his homies were about to hit the lick, but then they spotted cops in the area and decided to call it off. Big U was trying to put on a front like he was out of the streets and focus on giving back to the community. But the feds have a wiretap conversation where Big U said, "If I would have had a problem with any man, color, creed, king, or kind, the issue would have been resolved, and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. I'm still who they say I am. And I'll pull up on your block right now, nigga, and show up and show out, nigga." That's what happened to the last niggas that thought I retired. The FBI was also paying informants to get more evidence against Big U and his team. And now they even have videos of the informant giving Big U money that was actually coming from the feds. Before he turned himself into the feds, Big U went live on IG and said that the stories coming out against him are trash. Big U said he's not doing anything but trying to help his community, and that other people are trying to take him down because they don't want to see him win. Big U was allegedly making big money from scamming and hustling. But another crazy part of the story is that his own son is a linebacker in the NFL. Big U's son, Dayan Henley, got drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers and could probably provide for their whole family. But now his dad is facing life in prison because he couldn't leave the streets alone. Some people think Big U could end up going down for Nipsey Hussle's murder too, even though that case was technically already solved. Nipsey was brutally killed by a Rollin 60 named Eric Holder, and some people think Big U was involved with the situation. Nipsey and Big U had a lot of history. They both repped the Rollin 60s and were cool back in the day. Big U was managing Nipsey for a while, but then they fell out, and Nip's brother Black Sam almost killed Big U. There's a lot of different rumors about how it all started though. Nipsey's baby mama was Big U's niece, and one time Nip allegedly put hands on her, so Big U rode up on Nip to press him about it. Other sources claim that it all started because Big U took some studio equipment that Nip was using. Then Nip dropped the track "You Don't Got a Clue" and rapped, "Look, you don't have a clue of what you want to do. I'm busy getting rich. You think that I'm gonna stop for you? I built this on my own and everybody know it's true. Still niggas act like they're supposed to have control of what I do." Big U ended up coming to Nipsey's shop and started throwing hands. Big U is known for being able to fight, and he was beating up Nipsey so badly that Nip's brother Black Sam ran into the shop and got his gun. Sam shot into the air to make Big U back off of Nip. Then the cops pulled up and started shooting at Black Sam. Luckily, the cops missed every shot, and after that, Nip and Big U allegedly squashed the beef. Some people think that Big U never really got over it though, and he got even more press when Nip became the most famous Rollin 60 Crip. Nipsey grinded for years in the rap game and became a legend on the West Coast, and rumors say that Big U was jealous. There's no evidence that Big U actually sent Eric Holder to kill Nip, but there's a really suspicious video where Big U says, "Justice for Nip," and then laughs like crazy.
Justice for Nip.
But even if the cops don't tie Big U to the Nipsey Hussle murder, it's looking like they got enough evidence to lock him up for life. There's over 50 witnesses, paid informants, phone records, and videos too. Plus, there's a good chance that even more dudes are gonna flip to beat their own charges. Big U could have left the trenches behind when he came home from prison the first time, but instead he took the crime and violence to another level and threw everything away.